What is up, everybody? Alex from WMD here, back at you again, and this time we're going to be talking more about the 410 module, and in particular how to use it as a sort of expander to expand functionality of modules that have lots of CV inputs but maybe not so many knobs. In my case, I love using the Rossum Electro-music Assimil8or module. It is an 8-channel sampler module that has 24 CV inputs, but it has 2 knobs. So you can sequence all these kind of really cool things with external sequencers, but sometimes you just want hands-on control. And so that is what we're going to be adding with the 410. We're taking it from just sample playback into actually having like full hands-on control of the parameters that we need, using it more like a synthesizer or more like multiple synthesizers in one module just by adding the control. So as you can see, I have 2 410 modules here. That means I get 8 channels of attenuation or voltage generation. So real quick about 410. 410 is a 4-channel attenuator that uses faders. And you basically can run any signal through and then attenuate said signal with the fader. So basically, it's a volume knob. So you can use it for audio, you can use it for CV. But the clever thing that we did was we added a 5-volt normal into the input. This means that if you have nothing plugged in to the input jack, that you get a 5-volt signal that you can now attenuate, which means you basically have a knob controller or a fader controller that you can send anywhere in your system to add more hands-on control. This is really great for things that don't have knobs, or, but they have CV inputs for parameters, and it's also great for things like if you covered up, like if you in your cable management, you ended up covering up a crucial knob, well, you can use the 410 for that. Also great for attenuating audio signals if you just need to bring something down, as well as CV signals such as LFOs and envelopes. I am going to show a demonstration on how I would use that in this system. All right, so that's it. Let's just go. Let's dive in. So as you can see here, I have my Rossum Assimil8or. It is completely empty. This is my personal rig. I am trying to do a 6U rig with maybe one extra synthesizer or sampler on the side, just trying to simplify a little bit. And this is what I came up with, and I'm really happy about it. I am going to use the Assimil8or for drums as well as an oscillator combo for a bassline voice, and we're going to put all that together from scratch, and we're going to use the 2 410 modules here to control it. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a kick drum, and I'm going to make a kick drum from scratch. So I'm going to take my spectrum out here. I'm going to use the triangle wave. I'm going to run that into the left input here. And then I'm going to go out of the left output of Assimil8or just so we can hear. I've got monitoring turned on Assimil8or just so we can hear what I'm working with, right? So that's cool. I'm just going to go in and make sure we're set to channel 1 on my sampling setup. Looks like I've got enough gain there, so I'm just going to go ahead and sample this. And I'm going to sample a nice long bit. I don't even want to deal with looping. I just want to have a long sample that I can use. So I'm going to do 10 seconds. That's good. So we'll keep that. And now I'm going to go out of output 1 instead of the 7 or the master outs. And if we hit this guy, we can hear our sample. So I'm going to go through and I'm just going to trigger it with my Metron now. Let's do a quick 4 on the floor just so it's easy to understand what's going on. We can hear a quick little blip, but there's not much. So I'm going to go in and change the envelope. I could change it to 1 shot, but I'm going to go into envelope and just take the release out, right? So there we go. There is a simple, almost 808 kind of sounding thing. We can turn up the release time a ton, right? Or we can bring it back down. But we've got just a nice little tone that we can use on that. We can also change the pitch to whatever we want. But that's our sound. That's what we're going to start with. So now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to assign the decay parameter to my first fader on this 410. Decay, I think, is one of the most important parameters on the kick drum, and you know, just like being able to shorten it or lengthen it on the fly, I think is super helpful. So that way, you know, it just doesn't get in the way of your bass line or whatever. Sometimes you just need to change it with your hands, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to set the minimum amount of time that we would want. And I'm going to take a real short sample, so that's pretty good. And we'll switch this to CVA. And now, when I turn up my fader, we're changing the decay amount. I don't think I need to change the mod gain here. I think that it sounds fine. I've got some dialable parameters there. So the next thing I'm going to do is do pitch. So we'll go out of the second, we'll go out of C here. Go into CVB, go to pitch, set that to CVB. You can hear that I've got way too much. So again, I'm going to take my fader all the way down, and I'm going to set the lowest pitch I would want to use. That's probably pretty low. That's probably too low, but I do want that amount of range. So now I'm going to go to the top, and I'm going to set the mod gain to the highest amount that I would want. Highest pitch. That's probably, again, too high, but that's a nice range for my kick drum. All right, that sounds pretty good. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pitch envelope. I want this to have a little bit more attack, and I want it to sound a little bit more like a 909. So where that comes from is adding an envelope to the pitch. So you go pew, pew, that kind of sound. So in order to do that, I am going to first sample voltage from my 410. So I'm just going to turn the fader all the way up, take this output, go to left input. If we go to sampling, you can see that I've got voltage going in there. And same thing, I'm just going to sample a good bit of this. So sampling setup, there we go. Probably don't need 10 seconds. I don't think my pitch envelope is ever going to be that long. So we'll do like 7 or however many I ended up doing there. And I accidentally sampled to channel 1. So if we listen to it, it's just going to be a blip. That's going to be kind of weird. I'm going to go back down. Make sure I got the one that I need. There we go. Cool. All right, so number 2, we'll set this one to be the last sample that I took, which was sample number 8. And so basically what we're doing here is we're creating an envelope based on the Rossum's envelope. So we have the static voltage is being sampled, or was sampled, and then we're just going to use Rossum's envelope to basically attenuate that and create a pitch envelope for us. So what we've got going on is the first kick drum's going. I'm going to set the second channel to link. And now we will have the second channel is sending out voltage. And then we can just go into the first channel's pitch, say linear FM, pay attention to, actually we want to go into CVC here. There we go. So we're going out of the output of number 2, and we're going in input CVC on channel 1. And now you can hear we've got more attack on there. So if I go over here and I change the envelope, we can slow that down. Or we can tighten it up. So that's something I definitely want to have on a CV. So I'm just going to, on channel 2, say CVA is that envelope, go out of this 410 here into CVA, and now I've got the pitch envelope length on the fader, and I like how short it is. I think it gets a little long, so I'm going to change the mod gain down. That's probably good. So now I can really dial in like how much pitch envelope on the speed I want. And then maybe I want that pitch envelope to turn on and off. Maybe I want to have control over how much. So an easy way to do that is we're just going to take the output of that envelope, run it through channel D of my 410 here before going back into CVC. And now we have the amount on a fader. So this does nothing now. We turn it up. So that's the amount of my pitch envelope. So yeah, to recap real quick, decay, overall pitch, pitch envelope time, and then pitch envelope amount. So that is a pretty cool kick. So the last thing I'm going to do to add just a little bit more attack, because I can, I'm just going to add a sample to this attack. This is similar to how the Crater module that we make works. And this is basically what the Crater was inspired by. So we have the triangle wave. We're going to go into channel 3. We will say I want that one to be linked to, so that way it just always pays attention to the trigger that's coming into channel 1. And then we're going to load up a sample. I'm going to use the sample from the Oberheim DMX because I think that that is a funny sounding kick drum that I just love. So now if we just listen to that, this is, I switched on the mixer so you're just hearing the Oberheim. I'm going to go and just make sure it has a real short release time, so we're just getting that click out of it. So here's the kick drum we made, and then here's the Oberheim DMX, and now here's both. So I'm going to turn that level down just a tiny bit. And this might be something you would put on a fader as well. I'm not going to. I think that I can just dial that one in and then set it and forget it. I don't think I necessarily need the click amount on a knob. I think I'm good there. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is make a clap. For this one, I'm just going to use a sampled clap. So I'm going to go into load, and I'm just going to find a 909 clap, classic. And let's give it a trigger here. Is that too short? Yeah, it's a little short. Give this one a trigger. We're going to go into channel 4, right? Because we already have channel 3 there. And I accidentally did that on channel 4, so we're going to, or channel 3. So we're going to go through, change that back to the bass drum, go to channel 4, make that guy the clap. All right, so now we got 2 and 4. All right, real short because of our gate here. So I'm going to go through to the envelope. And again, I'm just going to set this one. That's on 4, so I'm going to do CVA. And we'll go out of this channel into CVA. Now we have decay. Let me just remember what I did here. Oh wait, so yeah, so I don't even need that one because that was the one we were sampling. So I'm just going to take it out of the first channel here. So now we have decay, right? So I just changed that to go to CVA. So I'm not going to do a pitch amount on my clap. I'm just going to do decay. And one of the things I like about the decay envelope, like the thing about the 909, right? 909 clap, is you have all this reverb. So for some patches that's nice, but for a lot, like, it just sounds better tight. But for energy sections, when you're adding more, you want to add more energy to a build, you can just slightly turn that up over time. That gives you more energy. And then when you come back in, just take it back to short. Super easy thing to do, just to add a little bit more energy momentarily and then bring it back to where you were. And yeah, the short decays on the clap just sounds a little bit more funky to me, so that's what I like to do. Next channel, we are going to do a hi-hat. So again, I'm just going to hit number 5, go to load, and again, I'm just going to use the 909 for this one. Go find an open hat. Cool. Add a trigger for this guy. Cool. Yet again, nice and short. So for this 410, I'm going to go out into CVA on this guy. And we will set that to be the envelope release amount. So CVA. Might want it to go a little bit shorter, so I'm going to go change the release time. Cool. So I like that. That's nice. I mean, I'm not going to do a closed hi-hat for this one because I can basically modulate the release to simulate a closed hi-hat. And for this particular patch, I don't necessarily plan on doing a closed hat and an open hat at the same time. So I think I'll be fine with that. I do want pitch on it though. So I'm just going to go out of my 410, my second 410 channel B down here. And I'm going to run that into pitch. So let's listen. Let's not do linear FM. Let's actually do the pitch. And notice how it just disappears because it even goes so high. So again, turn the fader all the way down. Go find the lowest we might ever play. That's pretty good. That's probably the lowest I'm going to play. Now we'll go to the mod gain, and we'll choose the highest we might ever go. That's probably the highest I'm going to go. Probably too high, but that's okay, right? Bring in everything. Oh man, that's starting to sound good. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is make a monophonic bass line. I'm going to use the Assimil8or as a pair of oscillators for a monophonic bass voice. So I'm going to go out of channel 8 here, run that into the WMD carbon filter, out of that filter into the Javelin VCA, into the Javelin's VCA. Javelin is an envelope and VCA combo. I'm going to take this channel 1, wrap these cables up just a little bit to kind of clean things up. All right, envelope out of Javelin into the FM on the carbon. We'll go out of gate 9. If you know me, I just love using number 9 for my gate on my bass voice, purely just because it's super separate and it makes it really easy for me. Then I'm going to go out of the Volterra. We'll go out of Volterra into the pitch. What I'm going to use for the pitch for the Assimil8or is actually channel 7A. And I'm going to show you why I did that right now. So the first thing we're going to do is go in and just find a waveform that we like. So while we're doing this, I'm going to bypass all the filters that I just plugged in, go out of channel 8, plug that into channel 5 on the mixer, so that way we can hear what we're doing. Go through here, select a channel 8, and for this one, I'm going to load up some waveforms. So I have some single cycle waveforms saved in here. And I have these cool electric bass sounds. So I'm just going to use one of those. Let's just choose one. I think that should be good. For the Assimil8or, you can basically just set it to loop, put it to one shot, hit the button, and now it's always going to run just like any oscillator. These are always super loud, so I always turn them down a couple dB, like I'm going to go down 5 dB. And then I believe these are pitched kind of weird. These samples loop a little weird, but that's fine. I'm just going to leave that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take channel 7 and I'm going to copy channel 8 just so we have everything from channel 8. We know it's the same waveform. And we are going to now set the pitch to receive from channel CVA on 7. We'll go to 8 and we'll say I want the pitch to come from the 7A. That's one awesome thing about the Assimil8or is it has all these CV inputs and they are not tied to specific channels. It's not like you just get 3 CVs per channel. You can use any CV to modulate any parameter on any track. So you really do have 24 freely assignable CVs, which just makes it super great to use. All right, so let's make sure this guy's running too. Channel 7's running. Why do I have these 2 and we're only listening to 8? 8 is going to be our carrier wave, and 7 is going to be our modulator wave, and we're going to create a more complex waveform with some phase mod. So I'm going to go into the phase mod menu, hit channel 8 so I know that that's the one I'm using. The source, I'm going to switch to 7, and then let's just listen to what it sounds like. So you can hear I'm adding more harmonics with more phase mod. I personally love it when channel 7 is pitched up an octave. I think that just really adds a whole nother level to this phase mod sound. Cool. So there we go. That is basically our oscillator. I am going to put that phase mod amount on a fader here. So that's channel 8. Make sure I'm on channel 8. CV. I think I plugged it into B, which is fine. Right? So now I have that tonal characteristic I have on this fader, so I can choose how much of those harmonics I want. So that's our starting place. All right, so now let's go through the filter VCA combo and add some gates on channel 9. Let's do something like this. And put it in the right input here. So now you can hear when I add the phase mod, even in the filter, get lots of different tonal characteristics just from that fader. All right, so let's add some pitch sequencing to this. Alright, so there it is. Alright, real quick, I'm just going to make another bass line on the fly. And then we'll just hear what it sounds like, right? Right here, let's hear it. Ooh, that's nice. And we'll just go back to the first one. All right, so why would I want all these? So now I have this thing, I could kind of set and forget, but I could set and forget all these parameters, but I can also perform them, right? So let's say we want to do kind of a build. So I'm gonna go like, shorten my hi-hat, turn my filter and my bass line down. Maybe take my kick drum out and add decay to both of these, the clap and the hi-hat. Keep the hi-hat up, but then bring the clap back down when I come back in. So yeah, just like adding energy with not that much effort just by performing these different controls. And then like you want to go into a new song, we can take the kick drum out. Let's say I'm going to change up everything completely here. I'm going to change the kick drum pattern to be this like more electro style thing. And in anticipation, I'm just going to turn up my pitch a little bit, turn up the decay a ton, and then turn my envelope amount down. And then let's go, we'll just write a new bass line. That is way simpler. So we'll clear this guy out and we'll just do C, and then we'll just like maybe do one half step up on the next part. Let's hear what it sounds like. And then when I go back, I'm just going to shorten my kick drum. So yeah, super performable controls over something that doesn't have them. So I like having them in this little block. You know, it's definitely like a little bit tight, but just using faders in general for me is just a really awesome visual representation. And then just the way that I can group all these because they're in groups of 4. I've got my kick drum on all these 4. I know that for my hi-hat, I've got them split a little bit, but I just think of them 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how I think of it, even though it's labeled A, B, C, D. Think of it however you want. Labels are labels. Just use it however you think works the best. You could also do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That is totally viable. And again, like you could have tons of these in your system wherever you want. I find that with the 2 modules here, I'm totally able to remember all the assignable parameters I did. I think if I expanded a little bit, it might increase the difficulty a little bit, but I think that after a while, especially if you do it kind of channel by channel, it's really easy to understand. And sometimes, if space is a matter in your system, sometimes using a sampler to cover lots of different bases in one is a really good way of expanding your sound palette without needing so many modules. So that is it. I hope this inspires you to get patching in your own rig and explore the space. 410 is available now at wmdevices.com. And love the module. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, please like and subscribe, and we will see you all next time. Peace.